really got to try on that left-hand side. What happened?
Oh, but I've gone up and over and bloody head over biscuit. It wasn't enough stability there for myself, but no, I was busting for a bit of meat this game. It didn't seem to work out.
Hello, cheers, and welcome to the Scrum of the Earth podcast, your go-to for news, reviews, great interviews, and so much more, all about the world of rugby. My name is David Lawrence. I'm an American rugby fan who follows the game wherever I can find it all over the globe. If you'd like to get in touch, I'm easy to find on all your socials, and you can always just drop an email to thescrumoftheearth@gmail.com. Well, as you have no doubt deduced, this is another bonus episode this week. This time, I am utterly thrilled to welcome back our most frequent visitors. You might know them as the Gruesome Twosome, but despite everything everyone says about them, I still think they're really not that bad. So, of course, the Craig man, the Scrum champion himself. Craig, it's so nice to see you. How the heck are you doing, my fine feathered friend?
I am doing just fine, mate. It's great to be here and great to chat to you again. And although we chat now and then anyway, but it's great to be back on the pod. And actually even better that you've reunited some distant friends, because the certain guest that you're going to interview, you're going to bring on, I haven't spoken to for a wee while because he's been a little bit missing in action. So it's great to get a bit of a.
You've been podcast ships in the night.
We have been. Even though we're on the same podcast, we are podcast chips in the night. So we're getting a little bit of a meet cute tonight.
Craig, did you know that shock rocker Marilyn Manson actually credits his nom de plume to the influence that you had on him in the late 60s? I might not have all the details, but it's something like that, right?
So, well, the thing is, what you're going to understand is that when we were in Florida, we went to Disney, and we weren't allowed to get T-shirts for the whole family with the Manson family written on the back of it. For some reason, they wouldn't let us do it. So, but on that note, what I will say, however, is that my cousin is Shirley Manson, who is the lead singer for the band Garbage, who did a Bond song. So
this is like a 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon kind of thing.
Yeah, like she wouldn't know me if she walked past me in the street because she's like a second cousin, but she is a cousin.
Well, you might have to trip her or something.
Well, and say, "Hey, I know you."
Well, and of course, Craig already kind of hinted at it. We've also got returning from his 17th consecutive, reunion tour. It's the soprano who loves Benno Obano. It's John Anderson. John, welcome back from the roundabout.
I mean, first of all, can we just dial back to Craig's revelation, Shirley Manson? Oh my days. I've never been more attracted to you, Craig. Wow, right?
And you're not even drunk yet.
Well, let's play with that, will we? Hi, David. Good to see you, mate.
It's great to see you. John, I actually heard you on the BBC Morning Show a couple of weeks ago. It was a lovely little segment that begged the question, how did you substitute your number for Tom English's in the little BBC Rolodex?
I think they just wanted somebody to speak some sense for a change. Oh, mic drop.
The guy whose name is English with an Irish accent who talks Scottish rugby. He's just too many fingers and too many pots there.
He's basically a running punchline. And not just because of his writing.
I should have warned you both. It's been a while, so I'm kind of fired up. I'm bringing some heat this week. It is the dawning of the age of hysteria. But in all seriousness, it is really, truly good to see you both. It's been far too long. Seeing your smiling mugs really does it for my tiny, withered soul. Thank you for joining me once again.
More than welcome, buddy. Looking forward
Always happy.
So how do you... Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, sharing the stage with a radio star, you have to be careful. You think to yourself, well, they must have lost my number, obviously.
Clearly,
it was. To be honest, right? You're not. So just about everyone I messaged about that, because obviously I was jazzed, right? And everyone I messaged went, "How the hell did you swing that?" I was like,
you're like, hey.
I've been talking about this stuff for a lot of years. You know your stuff.
So how have you both been? John, I know you've been carving it up on the tennis courts and out on the links. Craig, what have you been carving?
Carving a way back to my past, as in I'm back coaching.
Hey,
So I've started coaching again one night a week, and back to where it all began with the How Harlequins. So yeah, just getting back onto it, and other than that, just working.
fair enough. And what about you, John? By the way,
Well-
Wimbledon just wrapped up, and for the 148th consecutive year, the Blancmanges did not win.
Well, and neither did I, but I did get a call up. But I had a slight shoulder injury, so I had to miss it out this time. But maybe next year.
It was the
Yeah,
Andy Murray thing to do.
it's been a busy summer. The band have been incredibly busy. We had 3 gigs in 6 days, which was anyone who's listened to the wonderful Heist will know that is a slightly intensive experience. So
It's a workout.
Yeah, I mean, there's other words for it, but I was not a happy camper after the third gig. I was slightly sore. But yeah, so we're looking forward. We've got a gig this weekend. We're playing a festival back in my hometown, back in the Isle of Bute.
Nice.
So we're doing Bute Fest. Whoop whoop! It's not quite Glastonbury, but it's not far off. So yeah, busy band, tennis, golf, anything I can turn my hand to. I suppose that sometimes I actually do work as well, but I do my best to enjoy my life outside of work as well.
Love it. Well, as Sandy said in Greece, Summer Rugby had me a blast. Summer Rugby happened so fast. Guys, have you been enjoying the strange sort of multitude of tests that we're seeing these past few weeks? Like, we're going to keep the Lions bit separate because there's just been a ton of other action on display these last couple of weeks or months. Either of you, like, what's your level of enthusiasm for the Summer Rugby on a scale of Blair Kinghorn playing 10 for Edinburgh to Blair Kinghorn playing fullback for Toulouse?
I think Craig has to answer that first, to be fair.
I'm not going to fall into your trap, David Lawrence. I am going to be the bigger man, as I usually am anyway, in body size. I think for me, the problem I have is that I don't have a massive because Scotland, for example, and France are both playing away in in fact Wales are as well, although I'd never watch Wales. What am I talking about? But if I they're all over in a different time zone, so that when I'm working, so when I try to record it, some of the actual programs some of the games that I want to record, I can't record because I'm using a different platform to watch them on. I'm kind of missing some of the games, so I kind of go to a point where, okay, I just get caught up on Twitter. Well, I don't actually. It's Blue Sky I use now, and a bit of Instagram, and that's kind of I'm at work, so I then get the scores ruined for me. So I kind of go, oh, okay, that's it. So I'm a little bit kind of meh about it.
It's a weird summer. Somehow the mixture of the fixtures and the timings, it's been weird.
So I would say I'm more Owen Farrell coming back as a Lions bolter than I am Blair Kinghorn playing 10 at Edinburgh.
John, what about you?
I mean, yeah, similar to the big man. It's a tough summer, right? You've not got any blockbuster. Like France, New Zealand should be the blockbuster, but it's been dire. It's been, France have turned up and done a France and maybe had a merde dans les trousers. They're not very, they're mid-cycle, and I think this is the thing with these tests. Summer tests are always problematic, and the schedule has been set, but it's been pretty poor. Like, I switched on the other day when Georgia had taken the lead against South Africa and went, yes, let's go. And then it was 3 seconds. It's not been very good. Bless Sky Sports in the UK for putting it all on, but it's not been very good.
Well, Craig, you actually covered the first fixture of Scotland against the Maori All Blacks recently. It was a tight 26-29 victory for your guys. Can you give the listeners a sample of the ways you pronounce the word Maori?
Oh, we had many ways to pronounce Maori. Maori.
Maori.
Maori.
Maori.
Maori.
Maori.
Maori.
Look, there were New Zealand, okay. And as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I'm sure a lot of the Scots we were playing New Zealand, the All Blacks. It doesn't matter whatever, you know. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for taking the mick out of my accent. Appreciate it.
If you guys hadn't done it on the show, I wouldn't have mentioned it. Obviously, as an avid fan, I feel like I can go there. But seriously, with 20 minutes to go in that game, I quite honestly wrote down, here's where Scotland choke, and I'll be damned if it didn't almost happen. I was seriously shocked they kind of snuck out of there with a victory. Like, John, what were your reactions in the moment?
Yeah, I think it showed a lot of heart, actually, to, as you say, you're right, sneak out with a victory. I think there's an element of Scotland have developed a really nasty habit of second half performances not being up to standard. You know, you can push this all the way back to the Wales game down at the Millennium Stadium where we were a bazillion points up at half time and then done our absolute damnedest to lose it. We joke about the energy vampire Townsend. But there's something not going right at that switchover.
Was that Wales game the one Johnny had to Uber to?
Yeah, he had a mega trip to get there and then nearly ended up losing, which would have been...
Wow.
And we didn't laugh about it at all while we were having a pint in the pub. We really didn't laugh about it or giggle.
Oh, no.
Or, guffaw. We actually had a tracker on for him to see where exactly he had been sent to. It was fabulous.
I think that's the
Dusseldorf.
I think that's the thing about our group, Craig. I think people forget that we're all human and we're so supportive of each other when it comes to these things.
Who's got Stansted? No, I've got Gatwick. Oh, I've got Heathrow. I've got.
You owe me a pint now. You better pay up, yeah. Yeah, I think back to your point, David. I think, Scotland. It was a good win, and I think people are taking the positives from it in terms of it's a first win on New Zealand soil against any representative team, which is a massive deal, right?
Yep.
That was not the All Blacks. Let's be fair, right? They had Cole Forbes at the wing, and I love the cat hunter himself, but he's not an All Blacks winger, right? Let's be fair. So it's very much a fixture that met the expectations of a Scotland squad shorn of a few of our top players. But that was a good Scotland team put out there, and the same goes for the next fixture you'll talk about.
Yes, indeed.
Scotland have put good teams out, and we have not played well.
Well, hold on, guys. I just got a high priority email as we were talking. Just a sec. Okay, it's from the USA men's head coach, Scott Lawrence. No relation. It just says, can you all please take Rufus back?
No, we can't.
Absolutely not.
No, sadly not. What was the name you said? Sorry. No,
I don't know who you're talking about.
I think that's Voldemort. That's like Voldemort 2,
I mean, when it comes down to it, the real tragedy of Rufus McLean is that he's not good enough to play for Montpellier.
Well, he's got the record for it.
It makes you wonder what's Ali Price done.
That is a good question. Well, that is
that tattoo alone is enough to end up in Montpellier.
The thing is, though, ever since he was his lovely child has come along, you've not seen the big rabbit.
Oh.
Maybe there's been some rabbiticide.
I think it was with you guys when we talked about this. I just have this vision of the Montpellier training facility being like Fury Road. There's just like, metal trash cans with fires in them, and people are fingerless gloves keeping warm by them.
He was me thinking it was more like The Longest Yard, where
Shawshank, Montpellier edition.
Yeah, don't try to sell Montpellier to me with Fury Road vibes. I'm not having this. I'm digging my Fury Road. I'm not having this.
Okay, I couldn't let that opportunity to skewer Rufus slip by, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. Meanwhile, the Lions are also on tour. The Scottish players who probably should have been selected have the consolation prize of going on this little tour of the South Pacific. We already mentioned the nail-biter against the Maori All Blacks. Last weekend, though, it was a match against Fiji. The game itself was in Suva, a great place to commit handling errors. And that's what Scotland were happy to do, losing 29-14. John, what were your takeaways from this one?
Well, I was eating dinner, but
John, quick!
Or I'll consume. Yeah, it was frustratingly predictable. I think Scotland's had a very good side out, right? But if you go away to Fiji, who, people are like, oh, Fiji's a joke fixture. I know what a joke fixture is. It's Benetton, right? You can't be calling Fiji a joke fixture. They are a great side. They outplayed Scotland. They outmuscled Scotland. They simply were a much better rugby team on that day than Scotland, right?
They played with rage. Caleb Muntz was still, like playing with fire.
Outstanding. They were outstanding. And Scotland, even if Scotland had every single one of their Lions available to them, Scotland would not have won that fixture. Fiji were that much better than them. And again, I don't know, like lots of people have been shouting about, why did we take this game on? They were obviously going to be better than us. Like, if you're taking a team that's below you in the rankings on away from home, we didn't set that, right? That, Rugby World, the fixtures were set many, many years ago, and we've inherited this fixture, and we rightly have fulfilled it, and we lost, and that's okay. Everyone's losing their mind going, it's going to impact rugby, the Rugby World Cup seedings. See, if we're not 9th, we're fine. Let's just move on. Like,
yeah. Also, it started the conversation about how Scotland is one of the only so-called home nations teams that goes to the South Pacific and is like, yes, we'll play in Samoa if it's available. We'll play in Fiji. So England, they don't do that.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those situations where, and that's what the point I was going to make, David, is the fact that we're going to get beat by Fiji because. Look at the ground was the ground was bouncing because they're getting to go and support their home team. They are, no matter what anyone says. People say, Fiji are like the old French team. You don't know what Fiji's going to turn up, but more and more and more times you know what Fiji is going to turn up because a lot of the Fijians are playing in France. A lot of them are playing in the Premiership in the UK. A lot of them were signed up by Edinburgh to when they thought they were only 20 minutes outside London, but actually they were 5 hours outside London. So, you've got these players that are, you just need to watch Bill Mata play at Bristol to see that these guys they now have far better coaching. They have far more access to strength and conditioning. Maybe not in France, but definitely in the UK and different areas. But these guys, of course, we were going to get beat going down there. And that's why all these other teams like Wales, for example, etc., don't go there because they know that they don't want to. And they're all screaming for money because Wales especially need to have Fiji come to the Principality so they can fill their coffers up. So for me, I'd far rather Scotland go to Fiji, play in Fiji, spend time there, taking rugby to, not taking rugby to Fiji, that sounds daft because Fiji play rugby and they're some of the best at it, but actually going, taking an international to Fiji and losing. I don't mind it, I really don't.
It's interesting hearing, Craig. I think it was possibly Tom Jordan talking about it, but there was a couple of players spoke about the opportunity to go and play rugby. You know, a lot of the guys had never been to New Zealand to play rugby. A lot of the guys had never been, obviously, most of the guys had never been to Fiji to play rugby. That's such an amazing life experience for these guys. Now, will it make them better rugby players? Debatable, right? But will it make them better humans, more rounded humans? Of course it will. They've experienced something very few people get to do. That's really, really bloody cool.
It's really good to get the opportunity to know that even every single player, including the scrum half, will absolutely have you in a tackle, no matter who you are. I've played. We've got a lot of the Fijian guys at a local army base to us, and they come along to sevens tournaments and veterans tournaments, and they are the angriest rugby players I've ever met in my entire life. And all of us are like,
we drew the Fijian boys in a sevens tournament over in Mull when I was playing for Butte at the time, and we were very much we are a drinking before the game sort of team. And I remember tackling this guy, and genuinely his thighs were bigger than me. And he was just a monster. It was the most beautiful man. He was so nice. And he was we were way out of depth. And they absolutely thumped us. But this guy, I'm hitting this guy and I'm going, oh my God, I think I've just broken every bone in my body. And he's like,
can I help you up?
Yeah, he picks me up.
He'll pick me up.
I'm down. I want rest.
He'll pick the pieces off you up. Take you to the sideline.
You need reassembling, my friend?
Hey, bro, you want a beer, bro?
You want to keep playing?
Hey, you okay, bro?
Lovely. Brutal.
Craig, Scotland committed a ton of penalties and saw 2 yellow cards. Was discipline the big issue?
Discipline's always the issue with Scotland. Whenever Scotland get under the pump, and they're defending hard, and that's what surprised me against the Maori All Blacks. Thank you very much. Is that we were under so much pressure, and we didn't. Well, we gave penalties away, but didn't give so many away that caused us problems. Whereas with this game, it's not so much. Well, Glasgow, yes, Glasgow can do it regularly, but Edinburgh used to get a real problem with it, and that was when they were under pressure, they would give penalties away, stupid penalties away. And I think Scotland have inherited this as well. They get overzealous. Even Jamie Ritchie, sometimes when Jamie Ritchie's having a bad patch, he decides to, he decides that every single ruckie's going to go for that ball, and he needs to remember to pick and choose. So you have these issues, and Scotland still have these issues, and I don't know who's dealing with I know who's dealing with the defence for Scotland, but
not for much longer.
Not for much longer, but that's a different story. He thought coaching Scotland was hard. Anyway, so for me, the whole thing is they need to start understanding about defence a little bit more, and that they're going to have to, let the penalties go and deal with it in another way. And I just find it difficult. Although, Darcy Graham was doing everything he possibly could to make himself available for the Lions anyway, to get two yellow cards and
make sure he wasn't available for the Scotland game. Yeah, smart.
So, but anyway, yeah.
I think Craig's spot on. The game against Fiji really showed it's a very Scottish trait. It's the middle 3 inches. It's that decision making. Now, we have players who are ordinarily very good at making decisions. They can pick when to go for particularly breakdown. You're relying on your breakdown forwards to be able to pick the right decision, pick the right approach to take, respond to the referee. Now, we've seen it in the Lions tour as well, where there's been, occasions where Ty Byrne, for example, brain dead penalties where he's over the top, he's got his hand in the ball, the ref saying no, and he's still grabbing it. Scotland are so guilty of doing that. And it simply comes down to, I think there's 2 things it comes down to. I think one, it's rugby intelligence. I think a lot of Scottish rugby players are not that rugby intelligent. I think we struggle with that part of the game. Secondary, I think the lack of consequences.
Hmm.
Because we have so little of a player pool, you as an All Black make a decision, make a bad decision. It's not going to cost you your place. But if you do that 10 tests in a row, you're not playing for the All Blacks again. You'll be out until you prove yourself.
Yeah.
Scotland, we don't have that luxury. So you've got players with limitations, particularly between the ears, who do not do the things you need them to do under pressure. And it's really important to highlight that, Craig. You were spot on. It's when we're under the pump, people make stupid decisions. That's true of every team in the world, but we seem to be very, very good at it. And
Well, I think
that's our problem.
yeah, I think where John's hit the nail on the head as well is this comfort zone, because
100%.
we have both these teams. Okay, fair enough. Glasgow can be taken aside slightly because of their performances that they've produced lately, but Edinburgh's seen, and again, it's this thing of Edinburgh's a safe place for Scottish internationalists to be.
This is a great point you've made on your show recently. Like, maybe the need is to get them, like the Blair Kinghorn thing. Get him playing in France. Get him playing in Japan. Change of scenery. Change of style. Like, we need to sort of develop these players instead of just letting them kind of sit there and go, "Oh, okay. Should we go to the same place for breakfast?"
Well,
But there's
Finn Russell.
a fear.
Sorry, John.
Oh, you got me.
Finn Russell he's the person I hold up, and Blair Kinghorn to a point, but I think Blair Kinghorn unfortunately did it too late, and Jamie Ritchie is doing it far too late.
Yeah.
But Finn Russell left at the right point. He left Glasgow, went to Racing. Okay, fair enough, he was offered a bundle of cash, but that which is wonderful anyway. But he left, and he has become someone who had an amazing talent at rugby, but got this mercurial, this wizard, this sort of you don't know which Finn Russell you're going to get if he's
a maverick.
He's a maverick. He's this, that, and the other. But he's moved on ever since he went to Racing. He was told, well, right, do the things that you want to do, but you've got world-class players around you who will slap you in the back of the head and say, don't do that next time, do this next time. And they developed him. And then he's come to Bath, and Bath have absolutely reaped the rewards with him, because he's now a phenomenal game manager, as well as still one of the most talented. In fact, I think he's in the top three of tens out there.
Owen Farrell, Marcus Smith.
Yeah, well,
well, obviously G-Wagon has to be up there.
Well, I don't know if we're probably going to talk about Lions further down the line, but,
yes, we'll get that.
You've got to look at the fact that people in England were talking about Finn Russell not getting into the Test team.
Oh, I remember. Finn Smith, he's won his place.
Yeah.
People were talking about Finn Russell not even making the squad.
Yeah.
Because of the Johnny Sexbot effect.
So I think it's this. I think there's several people within Edinburgh Rugby could do with either moving to other teams where they'll get that competition. Because whether John will laugh at this, but you look at Magnus Bradbury. Magnus Bradbury left Edinburgh, went to Bristol, and he became, he really showed his mettle in Bristol and became a first team player regularly. He was on the team sheet every single weekend. And he's come back to Edinburgh. He is a better player now for Edinburgh. I don't know if we'll see what happens this season. But it's just one of those things. I just think they are too not mollycoddled is the wrong word, but they are protected far too much.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to fear, Craig. Like, I think we've had examples. I think even going back to maybe Ross Ford or guys like, Hamish Watson's a brilliant example of someone who could have moved and should have moved. But I think there's this, and I don't know if it's an inbuilt Scottish thing as well, because we've struggled over the years. I think sometimes players, they're big in that small pond, and people don't want to give that up. So if you take a risk, like Chris Patterson done all those years ago, and took a risk and went to Gloucester and had a terrible season and was back in Scotland before you knew it. Compare that to a Greg Laidlaw doing exactly the same thing, but much, much better. I think it suits certain players, and I think Finn Russell is. We've got to remember, Finn Russell went to France. He was not meant to be the starting 10 for Racing. Yes,
right.
He was offered a shed load of cash, but he was going in to compete against very, very good players, and he immediately accepted the challenge and dominated that position. And it's mentality. And we don't have enough of that in some of our Scottish players who are willing to take the risk. I remember a few years ago, a bit of a crossroads in my career, and not to say these guys are making similar decisions to me. We have very different lifestyles, but one of the things that struck me, I got a bit of advice from someone, and it was simply bet on yourself. You are the only sure bet because you control everything. You control what you do. You control your attitude. You control your behaviours. Bet on you. Take the risk on you. Don't worry about anything else. And that's kind of stuck with me. And I think I see a lot of rugby players who don't bet on them. They don't bet on themselves. They bet on, I'm in a nice cushy number and I'll get found out if I go elsewhere.
That does seem like the perfect Finn Russell thing too. Like, yeah, that's brilliant. It's funny too. I also love that, like, he went to Racing. By the way, it's a fact that no one player can completely turn around a whole team because it's 15 people. You can't do enough in it. But if there's ever evidence that might not be true, it's got to be Finn Russell, right? Because Racing fell apart when he left, and Bath just won the championship. It's like, what do you know? I wonder if there's something I can sort of point my finger at right there.
He's added a lot to that Bath side, and I think we were all concerned about the type of rugby Bath were going to play.
But coaching changes, lots of other things contributed for sure. But the evidence is pointing squarely at Finn, who's meanwhile drinking a beer while slapping his tummy on a boat somewhere.
He's not the most physically gifted of rugby players.
Thing is though, that's the thing though, John. He may not be the most physically gifted, but he's mentally gifted.
Oh, he's out.
And what he brought to Bath was a belief in themselves. Yeah. And everyone's talked about it. Finn has made me a better player. Yeah. And it's just, and little things like I thought he was. I've got my own thoughts on him, and Mrs. The current Mrs. Manson has her own thoughts on him as well. So, and I'll keep them to myself until we're chatting privately. But he's you don't see him in front celebrating all the massive things with the team. He lets the other guys go in and get on with that. And I think he's very much I think he's realising that he's being paid so much money and everyone talks about him all the time that he wants these other guys to just go and take a bit of it and go and enjoy it. And he plays that way with his rugby, and he also, once he's off the pitch, when he's interviewed, etc., that's what he talks about. And I think that's what's come along for Finn Russell. And I think I just want some of the Scotland players who are underneath the Scottish rugby umbrella to kind of poke their heads out and see, because it is nicer. Sometimes if you stick your head out from underneath the umbrella, it's a nice day, and I think it could be a good idea.
This week... sorry. I'm just trying to keep us on schedule. This weekend, Scotland played Manu Samoa in New Zealand. It made me curious. Like, are the facilities just not up to snuff in Samoa? Manoa Pacifica play in Auckland. Samoa do as well. Why can't they get a true home game?
Yeah, I mean, I think the facilities are. There's obviously regulations in terms of international rugby, in terms of the level of facilities you have to have. And I think part of that is, part of it is the guys already play in Auckland. So is it fair to then go, right, you're going back to Samoa to play a game that you don't play at this ground very often?
I think thought of that.
The element of trying to balance it, but the facilities are not there. And it's going to take teams like Scotland going to these countries and accepting that they're not, to Craig's point regarding Wales, you're not going to make money. Almost you have to kind of accept you're not going to make money on these fixtures. The other team might, and that may allow them to improve their facilities and allow teams to come there. It's also tough travel as well. Samoa's not easy to get to in any shape or form.
Well, it was a good performance and a tidy win for the Scots. Craig, it was an off-brand squad selection, but they did get it done.
Yeah, very much so, and I think a mixture of two different things happened. It was a good, the team seemed to work quite well. There were some good individual performances, but also Samoa, they're needing investment. They're needing their team to get time together. They don't have the ability to bring their team together to play together regularly, and unfortunately, Scotland were too much for them.
I liked some of the performances from some Scottish players that I hadn't really seen too much from. Did you have any standout players in this one?
For me, I don't know. I like we've got a picture of him up on the on the computer here, but Fergus Burke is starting to nibble away at my curiosity about him.
You were a Fergus Burke doubter for sure.
Yeah, very much so, and I think I still have massive doubts. I still feel he's there to fill a hole at the moment because I don't. Mind you, there's a rather large Adam Hastings hole that doesn't seem to be happening or being filled at the moment by Adam Hastings, which is a shame. I think Jamie Dobie is just absolutely outstanding. He
sure.
has developed. I think with him playing on the wing as well as playing at scrum half, Mr. Anderson, I will give him this. He has been a big fan of Jamie Dobie's passing arms for many, many years now.
I was going to say the death of Jamie Dobie. What happened?
He's a vindictive. He's a vindictive man, is John. I tell you. No. But I think Jamie Dobie has really has shown his true colours. Both him and Harry Patterson really just seem to have this sort of steel in them. The real absolute, they're almost, dare I say it, he who should not be named. They've got this Stuart Hogg, I'm going to get this done and get on with it and take the game by the scruff of the neck. I like that about them, although they are quite controlled compared
I'm going to go to this hearing. I'm going to show up dressed nicely.
Yeah, I'm going to take the nice biscuits and then, no. Anyway, I don't want to talk anymore about him, but sorry, John.
The difference between... So I agree. I know what you're talking about there, Craig. I think the difference, Dobie and Patterson in particular, I think has this in abundance. So Stuart Hogg for me was always one of the most, if you could compound an error, Stuart Hogg was a player who would always, if he made an error, you could guarantee his next play would be an error. He had that ability to absolutely compound. Now, he was a player who took things on, and I think Scotland at that point needed that.
Yeah.
You look at players, again, like Finn Russell, who are able to just, you make an error, you laugh it off, and then your next play is a massive one. I think Dobie, and in particular, Harry Patterson, has that in spades. I think Patterson, for me, now, I love Dobie to bits, and I think he's the future at 9 for Scotland, without a shadow of a doubt. Patterson's got something special about him, and just watch him go. Because if he gets the breaks and gets the right coaching, he could be sensational.
I think he's a something like a 3 foot taller Darcy Graham.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean. He's going to be able to compete for the ball. He competes for the ball a lot better, and when I mean that, I mean when the ball's kicked to Scotland, because he's taller, but he's got the feet of Darcy Graham and he's got the strength of Darcy Graham. Because Darcy Graham and Harry Patterson both look slight laddies. They don't look like they're big lads. which allows them to have quick feet, etc. And I think that's where Harry Patterson has got it, and he's a little bit taller than Darcy, so he gets that little bit more.
I
Did
think
Darcy Graham grow up on a farm? He has that vibe of I am 10 times stronger than I look like I should be.
He's a borderer. I like that.
Aye. Once you go past a certain point in Scotland, everybody's strong.
Yeah. You go about 5 miles south of maybe 10 miles south of Edinburgh. They pick up bales of hay with one hand.
You reach North Berwick, and that's it. You're in Tudor country.
Aye.
And then you go past Perth.
So Craig, what are you looking for with this tour? It was kind of a weird tour last summer. This one seems, I think, arbitrary is the word. Like, do you feel like this team is just kind of treading water? Like, what is Gregor doing? What is the plan from the SRU? What are we supposed to be, to see building in front of us right now?
Me personally, I think there's been two things for this tour. A, to help ourselves with the world rankings. And I think Gregor fell into a bear trap when he thought that he could beat Fiji. Because he did think he could beat Fiji, because the attitude and the lack of, I don't think they were prepared well enough for Fiji. But I do also think that Fiji were going to beat you at home anyway, but that's a different story. But second thing is, he has managed to try out the future for Scotland. And, people like, for example, Ollie Smith. Now, we all know Ollie Smith is good. He's proven himself quite well, but he's never really, he's not had the chance to string together some really good performances. He's had outstanding performances, one game here, one game there. Whereas this tour has given him the opportunity to really show who he is, because there's no Blair Kinghorn around, and there's no Tom Jordan around. Well, Tom Jordan is there, but it's usually Blair Kinghorn at 15, if not who comes off the bench, Tom Jordan, to cover for 15. Whereas you want Ollie Smith to get some time. I think he's tried a few different players. He's got Fergus Burke there. He's had Aaron Reid playing a little bit more, etc. Aaron Reid is
looks good, doesn't he?
What a player that is!
Yes, please.
Yeah, just like, I don't know if any of you watch the Premiership, but if you watch, I'm lucky enough I have the TV package that I can, and I watch Aaron Reid every Saturday playing for Sale, and you just like, he is a wonderful, wonderful player, and so he's allowed those few players to get a chance, and he's also given some of the players that maybe have been tackle shield holders for many years with Scotland to come out and get some time. People like, and his name's just gone right out of my head, but the centre for
Stafford
the centre, Stafford as well, but Rory Hutchison, to get some more caps and bits and pieces, because I love Rory Hutchison. I love the way he runs. I've already talked about this before, but he's not there when it comes to Hugh Jones and Sione Tuipulotu. So, and even Stafford McDowell gets called up before him. So it's allowed him to get some game time, and they've given the forwards a bit of game time. There's some new guys coming through the forwards that have really had some good. So I think it's done those two things, and it's not been too much of a, like, what's the word? Because of the Lions tour, it's not given them too much pressure, too much of a big game that they're going to get up. They know that they're going to get beaten because they're coming up against a full strength New Zealand or a full strength South Africa, and they've not got a full strength Scotland. So that's my thoughts on it.
Well, the Lions has also been happening as well. Not this weekend, but the last weekend, we had our first potentially serious challenge, though I was guessing it would have a bit of a Barbarians vibe. An Australia and New Zealand invitational team lined up to face the British and Irish Lions, two combo teams, now that I think about it. Craig, tell us how this game unfolded. By the way, how annoying is it that Owen Farrell wasn't in the mix for the England selection, so he's not in Argentina, where he kind of should be, like at best, considering his performance with Racing. Instead, he's on the field in the second half of a high-stakes Lions fixture.
Okay. Well, first of all, you
like this photo I found? I feel like just this slide is going to enrage you.
this slide is enraging me, and I'm going to quietly just, because just look at it. Oh, Saracen.
He's in charge. Owen's back.
Saracen. Oh, there's Kyle Sinclair there, who's now
Kyle Sinclair, who wishes he was a Saracen. So
wishes he was a Saracen.
And Toja kind of looks like, I remember this.
Yeah. So I'll deal with the elephant in the room first, and then we'll talk about the game, because the game is quite interesting. Owen Farrell, I know why he is there. I don't think and looking at the players that have been called up, I think he's one of the more higher class players to be called up.
Yep.
And I can understand why he's been brought there. He's a in emergencies break glass to get standards up, and I have noticed that
in the NFL they'd call him a game manager.
A game manager, okay. And for me, there hasn't been this for the first few games of the Lions, and they've been trying to find patterns with each other and trying to work together. The standards, I don't think, have been up. But, and this is the more annoying thing for me, is the fact that we're talking about all the other tours that are going on at the moment. France have taken a fairly young side to New Zealand. Scotland have taken a fairly young side to tour the islands. Wales have taken a poor side to anything anyway. That's a different story. For me, I just think, you had an opportunity to bring Tom Jordan in, who could have done exactly the same thing, although he doesn't have this grating voice and a terrible tackle technique. And I think it just was, how can I put it? For everyone that's listening in North America, or maybe around the world that doesn't know English rugby or British rugby, but the pundits had all been saying that he should have gone first. And when he didn't get picked, everyone then said, "Oh, his dad's taking him anyway." They've only chosen the 37 or 38 players, and they usually take 40, 42, 40 to 44 players. He's going to get called up. And the first cab off the rank is him. And all of us were absolutely beside ourselves with rage about it, because it's...
Well, Craig, you must have felt the same way I did. It was a West Wing reference. It was take out the trash, right? I was like, we're going to wait till the day nobody's paying attention, then we're going to announce it so nobody pays attention to the story.
Absolutely. And it just... But then I watched him play when he came on, and some of his passing was delectable. And you just know the standards that the guy will bring. And he's not one of the most test capped Lions players out there for no good reason. So, well, John might not agree with me, but he's, I would hate to have him as a teammate, because he's just the sort of teammate I would end up punching in the changing rooms. But I just think I didn't think the Lions needed it. I thought the Lions were moving forward, and I thought it was a backward step, and it may still be. But then I saw some of the Irish players that they've taken out there, etc., and you just kind of go, well, Mark Hansen, first of all, shouldn't have been on the tour anyway, although he's been all right, but
okay.
Darcy should have been there anyway, but that's a different story. Anyway,
Farrell's taking geography 6 and went, hold my beer, I can do geography 12. It's pathetic. So I'll pick up on Farrell for a second, right? So I think that Owen Farrell is neither a Test 10 nor a Test 12. He has been so far from those standards for many, many years that every team he has played in, he has made worse, right? And I saw the quote when he was called up, "We need winners." What's Farrell won? A couple of Grand Slams with England, fair enough, right? In years where France have decided not to turn up. Plenty of tainted titles with Saracens when they were blowing money at salary caps right, left and centre. You could argue this guy is actually a very, very average rugby player who his standards are not what the British and Irish Lions should be striving for.
Mm.
And the centre's already on tour. And actually, whisper it, Jamie Osborne coming in is a way better centre than Owen Farrell. Tom Jordan would have been a much better pick. Owen Farrell was a nepotism pick at best. And it is disgraceful that Farrell... Gatlin got torn to shreds for the Geography 6, right? Farrell should never get the job for the Lions again because of this. It's a joke what he's doing to the jersey.
But is it just injury cover? Is using Owen in the midweek games? Is this just sensible coaching?
How many injury covers do you need? If you take a squad of 38 people, you've got more than enough. You've got a full squad plus another 15. If you are of the opinion you do not want your test players to play midweek games, either A, don't have midweek games, which we know the Lions is not about because, let's be honest, that's making money for people, or B, pick more players in the first instance and take your licks like Clive Woodward did. He picked 44 players and went, aye, that's the squad I need. And I'm going to split them into midweek and test. And he got pillared for it. It devalued the jersey. People hated him for it. Farrell's done exactly the same. He is a pathetic Lions coach and should never get the job again.
Wow. This is a very strange moment because I feel like I'm almost going to talk positively about Owen Farrell. In the history of this show, I think I've spent the most time, it's probably 50-50 between Danny Kerr old jokes and Owen Farrell dangerous tackle jokes.
T-Rex.
But like in 2019 at the World Cup in Japan, I thought Owen Farrell was really good. And when he decided that the bad press he was getting everywhere was too much, he just scarpered. He was like, okay, I'm going to go somewhere else where the same press isn't going to be bugging me. And I thought that was a really smart move by him. It kind of didn't work out. Now he's back, so I'm not sure where I stand on it, but like, I don't know. When I look at him, I don't think he's particularly bright, but he might have made some good moves.
Well, let's deal with this though. It comes down to the English press as well.
Indeed.
The English press and the pundits are so loud and believe their own hype so much that Owen Farrell has been turned into this sort of a mixture of this. I'm going to say it, test match animal, but also he's also a terrible person, and it's like the press will either pull him apart or they'll vindicate.
Yeah.
And I think Owen Farrell's Owen Farrell. Owen Farrell is very much like Dan Biggar. He will sit and shout at the young guy on the field and not give him a chance because they've not done what he said or they've made a mistake, etc. And he's looked upon as a great leader and someone to drive the players forward. He keeps standards high. That's the usual thing. No, he's a bully. He's a bully on the park.
Interesting.
And that I hated teammates like that, and they're the first teammates that got an elbow in the head when they were running past me at training or something like that, because they were the sort of mouthy, like there's mouthy nines. We all know that scrum halves are mouthy because they believe their own hype and they think they're awesome and they'll tell you all about it. But I'll tell you what, they work damn hard. And I just think that, but there are times that he does things. When Owen Farrell is being peak Owen Farrell, he is a very, very good rugby player. And as I say,
I haven't seen him do those Dan Biggar things. I know exactly what you mean. I've seen Dan Biggar eviscerate his teammates on the field, on an international stage, live on TV. Like, he's really rubbed me the wrong way. I haven't seen Owen Farrell do that. Am I just missing it?
I think what Owen Farrell does is in private. He does it at training. And then also you'll hear him when he's speaking to referees.
Yeah.
And he's a Sexton version of it, rather than, because Dan
listening
Biggar,
to referees get annoyed with Owen Farrell is one of my favorite things about rugby.
Yeah. And as I say, and we've talked about this, and he is a dangerous tackler. He is a dangerous tackler, and but then
Well, he studied it in school.
he really has. He has had
A number
many
of-
chances to go to tackle school.
Yes,
Many,
he must have
many,
multiple degrees.
many chances. Yeah.
I,
Anyway,
I completely agree with your point, though, Craig. Your point regarding like those teammates that you recognise. We've all seen them, right? The bully, and it is the single most toxic thing in a squad to see a player like that. And as you rightly said, sometimes you just leave a wee elbow when you're clearing out, and you just drop one on them because you go, you're not a great person, and you very much stand up to that. But in that sort of environment where that's being praised and players are being held up as you're a great leader, when actually we all know that you're just a bully. That to me is where rugby can be quite toxic, and I find that really hard to deal with now.
yeah.
So it's interesting because where I live, there is no rugby coverage. But I see things and I'm hearing this vibe of, oh, wow, this is a really toxic tour. Oh, there's a toxic vibe in the Lions camp. But I don't know what that means. Is there? What does that mean? Like,
Well,
in what way?
to give you an idea, the Geography Six who came in on the tour two tours ago.
New Zealand.
There was let me think now who came in. There was Corey
Hill.
Hill.
Hill,
No, he's a dick anyway. But anyway, but those players that came in the Geography Six, they were shunned by 90% of the Lions that were there already. Some of them, for example, who's the hooker, the Welsh hooker that came in?
I'm working on it, pal. Give me a sec.
His name's on the tip of my tongue, but it's
It's not Joey Lake.
Dacey.
Christian Dacey.
Christian Dacey said he was not talked to by 90% of the squad.
Yeah, they sat at a different table. They ate separately.
Yeah,
to the squad.
they ate separate. So for me, that's what they mean about toxic, because these players had been picked on the original tour, and all of a sudden these people had been brought in just to hold tackles and to play the midweek games because we're too good for the midweek games.
That's like drama camp crap. Like, how is the head coach allowing that to be?
Because the head coaches celebrate performance and winning, and this is the problem. This is the usual bull crap that's around, and this is the Lions is sold as this wholesome, wonderful thing. Look at rugby in its purest form, and they all go out and this is the problem. The problem and the wonderful thing about it is the 1997 Lions, Living with the Lions film.
Yeah.
Right? Now, that was it. It was all their own cameras. They all were just given cameras and they were talked about it. It showed you a team that were living with each other and having so much fun, because you didn't have these. Doddy Weird went down. They didn't bring another player who was luckily playing in Australia or wherever to come in to play. They didn't, because they took a big squad, and they've not had the and that was the wonderful thing about Living with the Lions. But it's created this thing of everyone thinks that when you're picked in the Lions squad, whenever you go there, you're going to be loved by everyone, and it's going to be so much fun. But now it's got to that point where the professionalism has come in, and it's now that guy's here to take my money off me, or that guy's here to take my likes off me, or to take my performance away from me. So it's the usual bullshit, really, if you'll excuse my French. That isn't French, but anyway.
Le bullshit.
Le merde. Le sourire sur la table. I think, as I say, it's difficult, and I think that's what I worry about for the players that have come in just now. Although I worry about why those players are there in the first place, and then you've then got, it's now then compounded by bringing two of the worst bullies along with the squad, and that is Sexton and that is Farrell. And it just
I have the sense that that Sexton's doing nothing. Like he's in the
Oh
booth,
yeah,
and like when
oh
the
yeah.
games are happening, they're like every now and then he's like, "Oh, did you notice that they didn't do the wraparound move like I used to do?" And they're like, "Yeah, we know."
Yeah. I mean, hey, he didn't. He went down and he hasn't clutched his face. Why? And it,
That guy's wearing a T-shirt under that silk shirt. Weird.
yeah, and then he stands. If you have seen him, he's always just standing behind a kicker in a thoughtful pose.
We can all do that, Craig, can't we?
Yeah.
Well, on the 19th of July, the Lions faced the Wallabies at long last. It went pretty much the way we expected. The final score looked kind of competitive. The Lions winning 19-27 in Brisbane, if I have that right. Craig, we'll start with you. What were your takeaways from this match? Was it fun?
Let's just say Finn Russell, Sione Tuipulotu, and Hugh Jones were, how can I put it? If anyone was doubting why they should be there, they were silenced very, very quickly. I think Jameson, I call him Jameson, and I'm going to continue to call him Jameson, no matter how many people call him Jamison for some blooming reason. Anyway, Jameson Gibson Park is the real deal. When he's not, when he hasn't got a green shirt on, he is the real deal. And him and Finn Russell, wow, quite phenomenal. But also, what I did take away from it, apart from Bundyaki, who actually, when he comes off the bench, because he's not usually on the bench, looked like he was out to prove a point. The bin juice that came off onto the park almost let that game go. So there's a definite Lions test 15, and then the rest of them you could probably make up a bench out of the rest of them, and it's just a matter of scrolling through who hasn't done it yet and bring them on. I think Pierre Schumann, whether people believe me or not, and I do love the man, so I am tainted slightly, has proven himself a better loose head than Porter. On the tour, that's a difference. I think Porter, because the minute Porter came on, pinged straight away.
We called that live as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was in the refs meeting before that game even started.
Yeah, it seemed to be. But no, I think there's been some. I think for me, I think the British media have been shown that Scotland do have a phenomenal world-class backline. Add a little sprinkle of Jameson Gibson Park in there. I think just makes I would love to see that team play more.
But that's the thing as well. If you threw Ben White in instead of Gibson Park, would it just be as good? I think it might be.
Oh, I whisper it. Ben White is better than Alex Mitchell.
Oh, he's a mile better than Alex Mitchell. Mitchell stank the place up at the weekend.
Yeah, he really did.
Which is weird because he was really good this season in the Prem. But John, are Australia going to win any of these tests? It feels like if the Lions win everything, we're bored, and that's what we expected. So the only way this tour rings out for me is if we get a Wallabies upset, right? What did you think about this game and the Wallabies prospects?
I mean, let's be honest, right? Australia are so undercooked for this, right? Yeah. That game at the weekend is not going to give them what they need. The Lions shouldn't concede. That game at the weekend there should have been a 40-point victory for the Lions. The fact the Lions let them even remotely into that game is again an indictment of some of the poor play that took place. The wings, Lowe and Freeman were absolutely horrendous.
It's true.
Compounding errors. Let's just kick ball into touch. Let's make stupid decisions. If you want to dominate an Australian side, you cannot possibly let the set piece go their way. And in the second half, the subs, as Craig rightly identified, Porter comes straight off the bench and goes straight into Porter mode and goes straight on the side. We called it. Kat actually said, she was like, do you think it's just because Andrew Porter's got a huge arse and it makes him look like he's actually further in the side than he actually is? And I was like, I had my big television and I paused it and I was like, right, here is straight, there is Porter. That is Porter's career in a nutshell.
Remember that year everyone on the Exeter Chiefs had huge asses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That was kind of what she was thinking. Maybe Porter's just got a huge buttocks. But no, I mean he does. He has a very large rear.
God
But
bless him.
it's not. His whole body is in the side. This Australia team is absolutely horrendous, right? This is probably the weakest test team a Lions team has ever faced. Let's not get away from this.
Oof.
And if
You know, John, I listened to Australian rugby podcasts too, and the last couple of weeks, they were talking themselves into it. There was some like, well, the Waratahs exposed this one defect in the line. Like they've been talking themselves into it, and I think it's scary.
I
I
think they're Australian then because they are absolutely delusional.
Well,
this Australian team is terrible.
Let's just say that if Skelton and what's the other guy, the back rower?
Yeah, boy, Rob
Valentini. Now, if
Valentini.
let's just first things first. What you got to understand about this Australia team is that their captain on the day, the guy who led Australia to that Lions game, if Valentini and Will Skelton were both fit, he may not have even made the bench.
Wow, that's a great point.
So you've got to look at these situations. Now, don't get me wrong, their centre partnership they have is ferocious.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem you have, and could have, if they had now, I'm going to say this, and I don't mean it's a wrong way towards the lad Liner, Tom Liner, because he was thrown in and he's a young lad. He's only 20-year-old, but you've got a 20-year-old 10 there who's there to make decisions. He's up against probably the world's best 10 at this moment in time. Up against a Lions squad, the first 15 at least are world class, and a marauding Tom Curry who seems to defy.
I hate Tom Curry, but I want him on my team.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the guy is going to end up looking like Frankenstein's monster at some point because I think he gets a new wrist one day and then a new hip, and then he's had his head replaced about 3 times. But Tom Liner's up against this, so no matter how superstarish your centre partnership is, if you've got a young 20-year-old 10 who's either getting flattened or intimidated for most of the game, you ain't going to get good ball. And I think I'll tell you one thing, I think you might find that if Joe Schmidt had been hanging around, which unfortunately he's not, you'd probably find that Australia in 3 to 4 years' time will be really interesting and are really quite an exciting team to play against. But at the moment, they've got...
And I really want that too. I want Australia to be good. The rugby world sucks when Australia is bad to me. John,
they're Scotland in 2010. That's what I was going to say. The final thing, they are Scotland in 2010. They've got some superstars but the rest of the bin juice around them isn't helping them.
I love that bin juice is caught on. This is magnificent, and I'm pleased.
John, what were your takeaways from this one?
Yeah, I think Craig's hit the nail on the head, right? Funnily enough, if you want a creative backline that can actually unlock a defence, you pick the Scotland 10, 12, 13. I thought that Sione Tuipulotu was outstanding in how quiet he was. He done his business so well, and he just brought, like, Hugh Jones got the plaudits, but he brought that backline and the back row into the game in terms of the carrying. Tuipulotu he's the unlock that Finn Russell has needed throughout his career, because Finn has always benefited from having just that pressure release. Tuipulotu does that probably better than any player Finn Russell's played with.
Tuipulotu's willingness to be like, yes, I'll carry a ton this game, and I'm going to carry almost none the next game. His versatility, his willingness to buy into the game plan. I think that's what's separating him from other players at his position right
It
now.
shows a real lack of ego, and I think
Yeah.
I agree, Craig. When Bundy came on, I thought Hugh Jones immediately didn't do anything, and that was possibly to do with the tactics that were in play. But Bundy Aki, for me, did nothing to justify being anywhere near that Test team. I think he's a very, very talented rugby player, but is he Sione Tuipulotu? No, he's not.
I think he was a very talented rugby player. I think he's at a point
Yeah.
now where I think he's now at a point where, you know, what I was meaning about Bundy Aki coming on and tearing up trees was the fact that he did what Bundy Aki does well, and that was run straight, and run powerfully. He didn't, he's not what Sione can do that as well, but Sione also has a pair of hands that are just blessed,
like a wizard,
and he's got a really nice kick on him. So I think that's the big, that's the big thing. Sorry. Yeah.
Do you guys think that Australian rugby's hexed right now by the love of NRL? Like, league is so popular there. We just saw Union die in Melbourne. Now it's it's only league in Melbourne. Like, and then we have these crossover stars, people going back and forth. Nwagana Nawase going back from Union to league, but now we have Sua Ali'i coming from league to Union, and he's destroying things. Is this crossbreeding good for Australian rugby, or is it just messing everything up?
I think it's a tough one because I think Australian sport generally is very much predicated on individuals, right? They've always had their heroes to look up to, and that's not to say other
They
countries
seem American like that, where you want the jersey with the guy's name on the back.
Yeah, 100%, and that's very Australian, right? I think we've got this situation where they've got a sport that they very much, in Aussie rules, they've got a sport that is theirs, right? They also have league, which is in a lot of ways, and Craig might disagree with me here as a forward. League's a really, really useful tool, even as a union player. I used to play league in the summer as a defensive coaching. Like you learn how to defend playing league because you're just doing tackle, set, kick, go. And I didn't actually learn anything. I know a lot of players talk about the attacking shapes you learn in league, but I loved it from a defensive perspective. We used to play league as a defensive game. So you're getting these guys over. Now, the problem you've got is, and whisper this, right? You've got young, talented people coming over. These young, talented people could play any sport they desire, right? This young lad, 6'5", built like an absolute brick. He could play any sport in the world and be good at it, right? Now, he's been offered a lot of money to come and play union at the expense of the Aussie women's team and their partners travelling in coach class. Let's not forget. He is now the poster boy of rugby union in Australia. He's only going to be that for a few years until he decides he can get more money doing something else. There is no loyalty in rugby union in Australia. He will not be there for the long term. They need to be building their grassroots, similar to what Scotland have talked about.
That means we need to watch closely now because Sua Ali'i, he's special.
He is. He's incredible. Is he going to play rugby union all these days? Absolutely not. Could he make more money going to the NFL, for example? Of course he could.
He can join
LRZ
on the Jacksonville Jaguars.
But why wouldn't he? He can make more money on a training squad in the NFL than he can playing in Australia because there's no money in rugby.
I was watching some Super Rugby matches, and it's weird because when you watch any other competition, like where I am, you don't see the lead up. There's no halftime commentary. There's no lead up, and there's no like advertising. But in Super Rugby, somehow there's Super Rugby ads, and they were so happy to have the shirtless in all their advertising. They were like, can we just get that guy like on a cliff next to some water? No shirt. That's all we care about.
It's like in Scotland, Craig Manson, basically.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the same exact thing.
this is why David only sees me in this shirt, because it's off usually all the time.
Well, exactly. It's contractually obliged that you actually have to wear a shirt for this
Yeah,
podcast.
I have to put a shirt for the.
We were. I was watching a movie with my son recently, and there was a joke in it where one of the characters goes, "Yeah, well, I don't want to get too big," and my son just doesn't get it. So I've been trying to explain it to him since then.
I
Anyway.
Craig is as you expect as a human being. I was intimidated by how massive Craig is.
Oh,
He
I
is
don't want
so tall.
One of my goals in life is to never try to tackle Craig.
Oh yeah, I would have fancied my chances. I would have failed.
I've got a
But
glass jaw. It's
like
okay.
a
I've got two bad
Oh.
knees and a glass jaw. I come down like a demolished high tower block. You know.
No, we went kicking. So we took the rugby ball out the other day to have a kick about because Kat is thinking about playing another season, despite the fact every bit of her body's broken. And I was kicking a ball about, and I was taking a few high balls and stuff like that, and I'm jumping, and I was landing, and I was like, oh, and I was kicking beautifully, and I was like, oh, I could definitely do a job for some team. And then I was like, yeah, but you have metal bones. Like, is that really where you want to be in your life?
Advantage John sounds like
Exactly. Yeah.
I've seen Terminator 2.
I was going to say, who called for the Terminator?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you guys, it's already been an hour and a quarter. I really appreciate your time, and we've got one last segment, and you're gonna flip out. I prepared this especially.
Woo! Quiz.
I know you well enough to know how much you love surprise quizzes. That's why I've prepared a little Lions/Wallabies quiz just for you two.
I love quizzes as much as Owen Farrell. Thank you.
You
so
must
much.
be bouncing out of your seats.
I really am.
As you both well know, the history between the Lions and the Wallabies goes back generations. The Lions generally getting the better of the matchup. Craig, we're going to start with you. You'll both have a shot before I reveal the answer. Craig, approximately, how many Wallabies would a lion have to eat in a day to make its average meat intake?
That's a good question.
I think it's 2.5.
Oh, that's a good guess, Craig.
That's a really good guess. John, what do you say?
I'm going 3.4.
Oh. The 0.4 is the best bit of it.
Wallabies might be slightly smaller than you think. The answer is 5, maybe 5.5 on a good day.
Does that mean I'm closer?
The 0.4?
It does mean John is closer. John gets the point.
Yes! NTA, let's go.
John, the Lions aren't known for running. Obviously, Finn Russell has never been big on the training aspect, but the Wallabies are fairly quick over a short distance, mind you. Who is the faster, the Lion or the Wallaby?
Well, I mean, this is important. Are we talking about average speed? Are we talking about top speed?
We're talking about over a space of 30 meters.
A 30-meter sprint. Who's faster?
Yep.
I think a Wallaby is faster over 30 meters.
Craig, what say you?
Well, I've obviously got to go the other way because it's John Anderson up against.
I mean, I am faster over 30 meters, let's be honest. But
I'm going Lion.
Well, you know what? The Lions can actually run faster. Lions can run up to 50 miles an hour, and they get up to that speed pretty quickly. Wallabies can only max out at 30 miles an hour. Craig, one of these two animals is known for licking its arms to sort of cool down. A habit I know that you're proud to have broken after many years. Craig, are the Lions or the Wallabies known for this habit?
I think it's got to be the Wallabies.
John?
yeah, I mean, it sounds like a Wallaby, but again, because it's Craig, let's go Lion.
It turns out, yes, it is the Wallaby that does this particular thing.
I'm screwed to a wall here, guys.
You'd think the cat licking its hand, like its paws. It's got to be a lion, right? Like that was a trap.
I feel like Bundyaki in Lions Camp right now with Owen lording it over me.
So, final question. I can't believe how bad you are at this. Oh, I'm sorry. I wrote that in the script before we actually started talking. I just assumed that would be true. If we had a scrum between lions and wallabies, how many wallabies would it take to equal the weight of the lion's pack? We're talking for the men, obviously. John, what is your scientific estimation?
Right. So are we talking a standard pack of?
If you had an average weighted men's lions, 8,
So we've got 8 lions.
how many wallabies does it take to equal that weight?
Okay. So yeah, we're maybe talking. I'm gonna upscale slightly.
Okay.
I'm thinking 21 wallabies.
Wow, 21-8. That's less than a 3-to-1 ratio.
Slightly less, but yeah.
Craig, as a former prop, what is your completely random guess?
18.
Wow, going under.
I'm going up there. I think it's probably closer to 26 actually, but
So I'm so happy that I used Gemini to create this next slide. The listeners won't know it. As I consult my Bizarro World Rugby
Lions
Encyclopedia.
are cheating, actually. There's no 8 lions there. Oh, that's
where's the tuck? There's no way that body.
I'm using AI in America. We don't understand what rugby is.
And if I've got as a prop, if I've got my hands on the floor, I'm getting penalised.
Exactly.
There are a lot of paws on the floor. It's true.
that looks like Ross at the back of the scrum right now.
So I see that the average adult male lion weighs about 420 pounds. So if you've got 8 of them, that would be John? Yeah, exactly 3,360 pounds. That means it would take Craig 960 wallabies.
Wow.
So, of course, exactly 64 starting 15s. So maybe if this tour drags on long enough, the marsupials might have their day.
Have you... I read something recently. This is a complete segue, and I know you'll love it, right? There was the kangaroo wars in Australia. Do you know about the kangaroo wars?
I know nothing about the kangaroo wars.
Right. So basically,
though it sounds uniquely Australian.
Basically, what happened was there was a push to cull kangaroos in Australia, and they sent a bunch of soldiers with guns to kill a bunch of kangaroos. Now, those kangaroos...
Wait, can I guess? The kangaroos kicked their asses.
Basically, what's happened is those kangaroos did not lose the war. There was quite a lot of, now, you may argue that the reproductive aspect of wallabies has enabled them to maintain their numbers. However, the base numbers suggest that actually the kangaroos won the war. So,
can I just say,
worth looking up.
This is exactly what I thought I was going to end up talking about on the Summer Rugby pod was the
reproductive processes of marsupials.
I do apologise. No, point of order. It wasn't kangaroos. It was emus.
Oh, you see, as a protobiologist,
I would have known. I would have known the answer to that if you talked about emus.
Well, everyone knows the emu war, Craig, right?
You really wrong-footed us there, John.
Yeah,
sorry.
We were both on top of that.
Emu war.
It's not like Australia hasn't been infected by many different things like convicts from the UK, cane toads. It's like, let's just send whatever's going to multiply really, really quickly, and let's send it to Australia. Why not?
Do you remember the Simpsons episode where they visit Australia?
Yeah.
And they make somebody really mad. And he's like, I got to talk to my member of parliament. Oi, Brucey! And there's just a guy in a pool.
He's got the boot.
With a beer.
I'm going to put my boot on for a shoe-in.
There's an incredible line in... Now, obviously, I've sent you guys just the link to the Wikipedia page. There's an incredible link... or line, regarding due to it's almost like the central knowledge of the emus and the guerrilla warfare tactics employed. It is
by the guerrillas.
Magnificent wiki page.
And the last bit, what I love about it though is the fact that I follow quite a lot motorsport. I enjoy a lot of motorsport. So does John. But
Yeah.
when there was a point I was watching the V8 Supercar series, which is
Nice.
their domestic touring cars, which are a bit like NASCAR, but they go around many different corners, not just one.
Distinctly Australian.
Yeah. And it was sponsored by, I think it was Heineken at the time, or no, it was VB beer, and it was drink and drive, don't be bloody stupid was the line. That was it. It's like,
Which means somebody can excerpt that quote and just be like, drink and drive.
yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just, you can imagine these guys sitting around the table in the advertising place, going, right, what are we going to say about drinking and driving? It's bad. No, it's bloody stupid. Great, Bruce. That's fantastic. You know, and that's it.
Yeah, tell 'em.
That's bloody
What
lovely.
about the Indian War?
You guys, I'm sure, had the same feeling. Like in the early URC days, Ireland had this thing where they had like 2 hashtags. They were like, team of us. And then they would also say, everyone in. And I just had this overwhelming feeling that that was like a board meeting of these fat old white guys. And they're like, no, team of us. No, everyone in. And they were like, and some marketing like intern was like, we could just use both. And they were like, yes. And from now on, you have to use both. And it made both sound stupider.
Some from the north, some from the south. Can I just use your segue just for a second, David, just to celebrate that that this year's Leinster shirt has no stars on it. They've taken the,
We're just going to keep a blank slate.
off.
You know what?
Now that's
What's Andrew Porter going to talk about?
because they can't, because the stars. It was the weight of the slightly
The weight of the
off-balance
stars.
stars that was causing the problem.
I mean, I heard Geordie McBarrett said that.
They're substituting Jordy McBarrett for Rico Mikiwanui.
Yeah.
Next week. Did I say next week? Next year? I don't think that's going to work. I think Rico's cashed.
Yeah, Rico. Yeah. I fear Rico will get on the Guinness and he'll do the 100-pint Guinness challenge, and he will not be the superstar they want him to be.
I don't think he's been the superstar that New Zealand wanted him to be for a couple of years now.
Oh, savagery.
Guys,
saucer of milk for table 10.
Guys, final question. Do you know what you call a lazy wallaby?
James O'Connor.
Ooh, a pouch potato. I was going to say, thank you very much. Dads everywhere just cheered.
That one took a while to land, I have to say.
My answer was very good as well.
It was incredibly good. That's what I'm saying. It just took a while to land.
So you gotta be dry. I'm doing the Frankie Boyle. I'm trying to channel my Frankie Boyle. It's not working. John Anderson, Craig Mann, this was almost too much fun. I can't thank you enough for coming back to share a few laughs, to give us your insights and absurdities. My life is always better with both of you in it.
Thank you, pal. It's always an absolute pleasure to be on the Scrum of the Earth, and also just to be a colleague and a friend of yours. So I really appreciate it. I don't mean to speak for John, but yeah, I really appreciate coming.
Oh, well, it's about bloody time you didn't speak for me, to be fair. Well, similarly, thank you, David, for having us on. Craig, it's been an absolute pleasure catching up with you. It's been, as you say, too long, mate. We chat away in the background, but it's so nice just to share a stage with you again. And I think we've yet again delivered the nonsense that the people want. Give the people what they want.
This is exactly what I want. Final thoughts on what we've seen this summer and what you're looking forward to. My Eagles, we won a gutsy contest against Fiji. I've been enjoying the hell out of Rugby Africa. By the way, did you know there's an Ugandan rugby club called the Heathens? And did you know that people from the Côte d'Ivoire are known as the Ivorians? Also, quick shout out to Leroux Milan, who is just days after winning his 3rd consecutive MLR Shield, was back on the plane to Namibia to take down their, I think it would be their 10th title in this competition in a row. It's too good. Lots of action in South America, the Southern Hemisphere. The women getting geared up for what will likely be the best World Cup to date, except for England winning.
Who's
On
got
top of
tickets?
all this, the Curry Cup starts in like 2 weeks, and the NPC's a week after that. Guys, are you fired up now?
I mean, I'm ready to go to the World Cup. I've got tickets.
Are you going?
I'm going down. Yeah. So we're down first week in September. So I think we're seeing Scotland, Wales, and Fiji, Canada, which is going to be
Wow.
outstanding.
Those are two good matches.
I'm looking forward to visiting North America in about a week and a half's time.
What? Are you back in Canada?
Back to Canada, back to Toronto. So
damn it, that's like an 8-hour drive. So I know it seems inconceivable for you. Can we meet halfway? I can drive 4 hours. Come on.
Well, we'll talk about it later, David. Okay. And it might mess with the current Mrs. Manson's plans, but we'll see what we can do. And then a big shout out to Alona Mar as well. Getting breakout player.
She's been playing well.
Again, an ambassador for women's sport, and also Scotland Rugby finally producing a Scotland women's shirt.
How good is that top?
It's brilliant.
Hell yeah.
So a lot of different things going on. I think I'm looking forward to what's the word? I'm looking forward to talking about rugby and not discussing a Lions team or a potential Lions team or a team that somebody thought could be a Lions team or any Lions bolters or anything to do with the Lions eventually for another few years.
I think at this point, I'm a Lions bolter.
You are a Lions bolter.
You are. I am traveling this September to the rugby heartland that is Georgia.
Oh.
We've just booked, just in the last couple of days, we are off to Armenia, and then we're spending 4 nights in Tbilisi.
John might be kidnapped as a prop forward, a Georgian.
I am basically
beard and a bald head.
Georgia. So I've got my top in the cupboard. I'm going to wear my Georgia rugby shirt, and basically I'm going to get kidnapped, and you'll see me in the autumn representing Georgia.
If you're a Georgian kidnapper, you probably want to go for the back rather than the forward, right?
I mean, I've got some good backs now. I mean, I can play 10. Look at this.
What John doesn't understand is when he goes to a rugby club in Georgia, they all look like him. Every single one of them.
No one knows the difference. It's just
no, even in his angriest moments, John has never looked that angry.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, that's again debatable.
Let's just not talk about Italian rugby.
Let's not talk about Blair Kinghorn at 10, eh?
Hey, that's what we call in the biz a callback. Nice.
Yeah. That was quite good, wasn't it? Yeah.
Both of you guys, I just love you so much. It's coming on 4 years that I've been doing this show.
Is it really? Wow.
The 26th is the anniversary. You've both been such a huge part of it. I'm really proud to think of both of you as friends. And at this point, you've meant a lot to me. And I just can't tell you enough how lovely it is to have you back on here to catch up. Like, this is the best chat I get every month. And it means so much to me. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, man. It's fabulous. Just thanks. It's great to just have a friendship that develops, and it's not only just due to rugby, but it's just you're a good guy, and it's great to just be part of the scrum of the earth as well.
Well, Craig has his traditional jersey on. John has a nice training jersey. This is my new favorite one. My best friend, who doesn't care about rugby, loves me so much that she knows I love rugby. So she found a Fire Department of Rugby North Dakota t-shirt to wear. And by the way, so that made me think, Rugby North Dakota, there's a rugby in the United States. And sure enough, Rugby North Dakota claims they are the geographic center of the United States. It is disputed, but you know what? They built a monument, so too late. Craig, my friend, you are the absolute best. Thank you so much for joining me. Cheers. Talk to you soon. And be well.
Take care.